Euromaxx highlights in today's show. Rolling on. Roller skating celebrates its 250th birthday. Wood is good. A 7-story wooden apartment block in a city of stone. Summer snow. A futuristic new indoor ski run in Oberhof. Euromaxx highlights. And here's your host, Karen Helmstedt.
Hi there and welcome to our highlights of the week, which included yet another visual feast from one of Germany's most successful and multi-talented fashion designers, Wolfgang Joop. At 64, the Potsdam native is always good for a surprise or two, and he's recently been presenting himself much more as an artist. And in that vein, the Berlin Lumas Gallery went rummaging through his earlier sketch and graphic collection to put on an art show that had visitors lining up to buy.
Wolfgang Joop's artworks, delicate lines in pencil, and vividly colored surfaces in acrylic. The fashion designer produced these pieces between 1973 and 2007. 20 of them are now on show in Berlin at the Hackische Höfe in the Lumas Gallery. Wolfgang Joop never originally intended to show them to the public.
It really touched me to see this here. It was just being stored in a closet. I hadn't ever planned on showing it. It was a personal remembrance. This, for example, my dog, Wolfie, with this angelic, arrogant creature.
The early illustrations from the 1970s reflect the fashion trends of the time. Here, the French fashion designer Yves Saint Laurent in safari look. Inspired by artists like Austrian Egon Schiele, his pictures gradually grew to become works of art in themselves.
My later works are more uninhibited. This series is almost impressionistic. They were sketched very quickly with a fat pencil or crayon, so I wouldn't get lost in details. A long time ago, I used to try and hang on to details.
Thanks to his perfectionism, Wolfgang Joop has become one of Germany's most successful designers. In 1981, he founded the label Joop, which he sold in 2003. Throughout, he also wrote books and in 2003 established the label Wunderkind. Wolfgang Joop has returned to his birthplace Potsdam near Berlin. Fashion has remained his main business, but art and fashion have often crossed over in his career. A few months ago, the Kunsthalle Rostock dedicated a solo art exhibition to him, showing one of his fashion collections. Here in Berlin, Joop is also treated as an artist. None of the originals are on show. These 20 exhibits are photo reproductions, produced in limited edition, and all signed by Joop. They're priced between 500 and 1,300 euros each, and are selling fast.
I've known Mr. Joop's work for a few years now. I'm so surprised. I've decided I have room in my apartment for this picture, and it fits perfectly.
I really like this Black Beauty. I saw it recently at another exhibition, and I think it's wonderful. The prices are great too, really reasonable. And it's a Joop.
The exhibition is a big hit. On the first day, more than 350 pieces were sold. Joop's debut on the art market has been a success.
I was ready to take a new step, but I wasn't sure if I'd be making myself look ridiculous. But the curators and new collectors explain there's a new generation of artists, not those who become famous through the history of art and through reference to another epoch, but those who become famous because of who they are, because of their glamour factor.
durch ihren Glamour-Faktor, wenn man so will, bekannt werden.
Painter and fashion designer. For Wolfgang Joop, the two now go together.
Well, in some parts of the world, using wood in construction is a very normal thing to do. But here in modern Germany, especially in cities, concrete, brick and stone are generally preferred. And yet, wood is an increasingly attractive and, of course, sustainable natural material, which is why two local architects chose wood as the mainstay for a very unique apartment house here in Berlin.
A wooden house that doesn't look like it's made out of wood. The 25-meter-tall apartment block in eastern Berlin has about 950 square meters of floor space on 7 stories. The architects were so happy with how it turned out that they moved their offices into the building. Tom Kaden and Tom Klingbeil wanted to show with the building how modern the material wood can be.
When building with wood, you don't have to broadcast it and say this is a wooden building. We wanted to utilize the positive properties of the material in construction, in insulating, without necessarily having to put the material on the facade.
Another advantage of wood is that prefabricated parts out of southern German spruce can be quickly put together. It only took 1 week for each floor. The entire skeleton was completed in less than 2 months. And by using a special coating for the facade, the fire safety is as high as with any other building. A unique feature of the building is the separate staircase, which is not made of wood but concrete.
We're satisfied with the building from both an architectural point of view and in terms of energy efficiency. We've noticed it for ourselves, but we've also had a lot of positive feedback from others, and that's all led to follow-up orders.
The weight of the construction is carried by the outside walls. As there are no supporting walls in the interior, each apartment can be totally different. 19 people live in the wooden apartment block.
Sensitive people have come here into this apartment and said, wow, what a good climate in this space. I rarely experience this in Berlin.
It really has something that harks back to the Bauhaus tradition. I really enjoy it every time I come in here. It has such a positive feeling.
In recent years, the two architects Tom Kaden and Tom Klingbeil have built more than 150 smaller wooden buildings. Their ambitious large-scale project in Berlin won the 2009 German Wooden Construction Prize. Multi-story buildings out of wood are now going up elsewhere as well.
Switzerland, 5 and 6 stories. Austria, 5 and 6 stories. In Vienna, there's a lot going on, and we're happy about it. And technical developments are taking things forward. A study from the Technical University of Vienna says 12, 13, even 15 stories shouldn't be a problem.
The sky's the limit for the two architects who've been working together since 2001. Thanks are also in order to those who bought the apartments when the technology was new.
We have to really thank our clients who had enough faith to try an experiment like this in the city. For future clients, it's already easier now to repeat this.
Building with wood in the city looks set to become much more commonplace in the future.
And back to the busier parts of town. During the summer here in the capital on Sunday nights, you can often see streams of inline skaters flowing through the streets. It's getting on for about 20 years now since the inline skate stole the limelight from its predecessor, the roller skate. But while a roller skate comeback is gathering momentum, many people enjoying skater culture today would be surprised to learn that the supposedly more modern inline construction was invented 250 years ago.
Skate night in Berlin is already a tradition. Hundreds of skating fans have been meeting regularly and speeding through the city for more than 10 years now. Skating is not just a fashionable way to keep fit, it's something many people can't imagine living without.
It started in the 70s and into the 80s, and it's a sense of liberation. It's about looking for the wings in your legs.
Every time I put my roller skates on, I feel like a bird on the wing.
Skaters can choose between double-axled roller skates or inline skates, where all the wheels are positioned in a single line. The first roller skate was invented 250 years ago. Professor Kuno Hottenrott is a sports scientist at the University of Halle. The history of inline skating is a special area of interest for him.
A Belgian musical instrument maker called Merlin is credited with the invention of the roller skate. Merlin modeled the invention on an ice skate, attached two wheels beneath the blade, and then he presented his shoe at the Royal Court in London.
Most of the first roller skate prototypes were rather uncomfortable. The wheels were usually arranged in a single row. They were originally conceived as ice skates for summer. Then came the double-axled roller skate. It may have offered more stability, but was not much good on the prevailing cobblestones.
The materials were very different. Copper, ivory, or other metals were used for the wheels, even wood. But the overall characteristics of the shoe were bad, and a world away from the quality of the wheels you get on today's inline skates.
In the early 20th century, enthusiasm for the roller skate in the US and Europe snowballed, and it became a mass phenomenon. It even featured on the silver screen in 1916 with the Charlie Chaplin movie The Rink, the first roller skating film ever. Almost 60 years later, a new wave of roller skating euphoria hit Europe. With blow-dried hairstyles and clad in leggings, German youngsters headed for the roller skate discos, like here in Berlin. The crest of this particular wave was the musical Starlight Express, performed entirely on roller skates. It's still enjoying success, in Bochum, for example, where it's been a hit since 1988. After a decade of disco fever, inline skates from the US burst onto the scene, leaving the humble roller skate to gather dust.
People wanted to move quickly, to experience the thrill of speed, and inline skating really hits the spot. Also, the rhythmic movement, the interplay between arm and leg work. It's a fabulous sensation, and I think people will always want to experience it, and will always crave this way of getting around.
In the late 80s and early 90s, inline skating was still a subculture that had infiltrated Europe from the US. The trend went beyond the actual skates to include skate fashion and music. Street skating, which involved weaving through moving traffic at top speed and sometimes catching a lift from a passing car, was especially popular, as well as feisty skating moves in the halfpipe. But today, inlining has become mainstream. There are some 50 million inline skaters the world over.
Cross skates are very popular these days, longer skates for cross-country. Skating is becoming more diversified, with the accent on fun rather than sporting achievement. There's a variety of events, such as night skating and city skating. There's loads of activities where people can meet up and enjoy themselves on inline skates. And I think that plays an increasingly important role today, particularly in this sector.
Whether on inline or double-axled roller skates, 250 years on, the need for speed is still very much alive.
And we turn now to a need for space. In larger European cities, space is, of course, at a premium. Creating a green oasis at home or at work is always a challenge. But in recent years, innovative green thumbs have come up with a few radical solutions. For instance, gardens that grow not horizontally, but vertically.
The Museum Quai Branly by French architect Jean Nouvel is a green oasis in the middle of Paris. The building is surrounded by trees, bushes, and grasses. Even the walls are green. 15,000 different types of plants grow on the facade of the museum. That's an area of over 800 square meters, a vertical garden. French botanist Patrick Blanc is one of the inventors of the living wall.
I'm pleased there are still a lot of flowers, even though summer is almost over. For example, the little yellow ones there blossom from spring to autumn. Whenever I create a wall of plants, I think about how the plants will look at different times of the year. What are the shapes and colors of the blossoms, and what sequence do they flower in? Then I arrange them into a harmonious whole.
No matter whether the facade is stone, wood, or concrete, walls of plants can be attached to any of them. The plant's roots grow into boards backed with natural fiber, which are fixed to a metal structure. They're supplied with water and fertilizer through pipes concealed behind them. It took 2 or 3 months to plant the facade. The bushes, perennials, ferns, and mosses remain on the wall all year round.
There are also ecological spin-offs. Microorganisms in the plant's roots take poisonous substances out of the air and make them harmless. Of course, you need an enormous number of walls to keep a city clean, but it's good nonetheless.
A new illustrated book presents 31 vertical gardens in Europe, Asia, and the US. For example, a church in London, a hotel lobby in Munich, a park in Tokyo, and an interior courtyard in Zurich. Artists and landscape gardeners have come up with different solutions for a green city. Another example of vertical greening is this building on the edge of Paris. It calls itself Flower Tower and is one of the first residential apartment blocks to be cultivated in this way. The facade is hidden behind huge plant pots. It was the idea of French architect Edouard François. He's been involved in green architecture for more than 10 years now and would like to make cities more livable.
My idea to have a wild vegetal facade is to have something that is totally in movement. That is something that I didn't design, you know. This is not a design place. I don't know which kind of plant is going to arrive. And I think this is the main idea in sustainability.
For his most recent project, he built wooden frames around homes in an estate of terraced housing. He has largely left to chance the plants that will grow there. In a few years, the estate might look like these holiday homes in Juppy, south of Paris. Vertical gardens can also be found in unusual parts of the city, like this green wall by Patrick Blanc, in an upscale Paris restaurant. It is 30 meters high and features more than 150 types of plants. It also includes many tropical varieties from India, Malaysia, and Brazil. The price tag 600 euros per square meter. The guests can enjoy the exotic ambience.
Well, for me, a perfect summer is certainly very hot and sunny, but there are those folks who find it hard to be away from snowy ski slopes for even a few brief months. Winter sport athletes are among them, but now some can find temporary relief in southeastern Germany. Just last month, Europe's largest indoor cross-country ski track opened its doors in the winter training sports center of Oberhof, and as of September 1st, hobby skiers can also give it a run.
-4 degrees Celsius and 30 centimeters of powdery snow. Ideal skiing conditions. Anyone who wants to strap on their skis here in Oberhof in Thüringen in late summer has to swap their shorts for winter clothing. But that doesn't put off Aunt Fischer from Coburg.
If you like to ski, then you like to ski the whole year round. And when you get the opportunity, then you should take advantage of it.
The 33-year-old has only come here because of the new hall. He has been skiing since he was a child.
It's fun, brilliant, Great, and in the middle of the summer.
Outside, the ski lifts are not working. During the winter, thousands of winter sports fans descend on Oberhof at an altitude of some 815 meters to enjoy themselves among the snow-covered peaks. But the only thing that's white at the moment is the facade of the indoor ski hall. When snow falls, it almost completely blends into the surroundings.
It's unusual because there is a hall. Usually indoor ski venues are built as tunnels and then covered with earth. Here we decided to build above ground, and the hall is a deliberate feature in the landscape.
Another striking feature, the large tunnels, which are 5 meters high and 8 meters wide. There are 3 different tracks. One is a loop. The other 2 are dead ends. One has a 12% gradient. The idea is to give professional skiers the chance to practice here in summer and in winter, if the weather isn't suitable for skiing outdoors. Inside, there's plenty of artificial snow. It is produced overnight and then spread over the track, which measures almost 2 kilometers in length.
Up there, we've got 4 snowmaking machines, or cannons. Water is forced through very fine nozzles at about 0 degrees Celsius and goes on to form snow at the very low temperatures that are produced in this equipment.
The flooring is kept at minus 10 degrees Celsius to ensure that it doesn't melt, even if the electricity cuts out for quite a while.
You can sum it up like this. The snow remains because it's cold from below and from above. It has to be insulated all over. If you completely switch off the temperature controls, it can stay like that for 2 days.
Set, go! The ski hall was built for professional athletes. The German national skiing team trains here, and the Swiss team has also travelled to Oberhof to stay on form. 30-year-old Laurence Rochard is one of the Swiss skiers. She's preparing for the 2010 Winter Olympics.
This tunnel is a lot better than the other tunnels because it's well lit and it's high. In Finland, for example, there's a tunnel that's actually a motorway tunnel with no light whatsoever and no hall like here. This is better.
Initially, amateur skiers could only look in through the window and watch the professionals training. But now the hall and ski tunnels have been opened up for all.
We went for an hour and I'm out of breath. That's enough.
It's my first time in ages. I just hope I can get around without injuring myself.
We're delighted, of course, even though the temperature and the air humidity takes a bit of getting used to.
The Oberhof ski hall is already the biggest in Europe, but it's set to expand even further with plans for a shooting range for biathlon training.
Don't forget you can watch our highlights again at your leisure on YouTube. And with that, that's all for this time. So until we meet up again, thanks for watching and bye-bye.